Hey guys, I wanted to show you a few things I do to my Brew City transducer pole to make it work most effectively and efficiently for me as possible. And if you do these same things, hopefully it does the same for you. So for starters, how I mount my transducer on the pole is with a 0 degree mount. And this is a fish obsessed mount that just mounts on the pole. But what it does is it keeps the transducer perfectly in line with the pole. So now as you're trying to track baits at distance especially, it just helps you keep a straight line of sight on that. And being in line makes it a lot easier when you get out to that 80 to 100 plus foot back from the boat and you're trying to just keep a constant visual on things. So that does seem to help the cause a little bit. Another thing I do is I put a little bubble level, stick-on bubble level to the top of this transducer pole. That way when I deploy it, I can immediately level this perfectly plumb no matter how the boat is sitting. And that changes. Maybe you have a kicker engine or a heavy passenger or the boat's just unlevel somehow. Now you can perfectly get that transducer pole plumb in the water so that no matter which way you're pointing, you've got a perfectly level picture in all directions. And that can change, which is why I do like to mount this on a rail here. I have two different rail mounts, one back here and one up here. That way, no matter where I'm standing or how I want to position the transducer, I have that flexibility to put it in both directions. So maybe that's another accessory you want to pick up when you purchase your pole. I do prefer the rail mount though, because as you can see, I can rotate it up and down on the rail. That comes by having a little 3/16" wrench handy on board so that you can perfectly tighten these bolts just right so that the tension is there for an easy deployment, but it's sturdy enough so that if water pressure starts to build on it, if you pick up your speed, it's not bringing it up on the rail. So that's how I like to have my rail mount set, just loose enough so that when it's time to pick it up and stow it, I just rotate it up, bring it back, and I'm locked in and ready to go. You'll notice that I have an extra support arm here. That is not necessary for these Brew City poles, but it is something that I like to have when it's time to go down the highway or run big water. It just adds a little bit of extra security to that pole and reduces additional vibration that you might get by not having a little bit of extra support there. But like I said, you don't have to have it for this pole. It's plenty strong and sturdy the way it is when you lock it in. So 0 degree, bubble level for proper leveling, and a little extra support with proper tension on the rail, and it's a super convenient and easy setup for your Brew City transducer pole. Now let me show you how it affects, how that leveling affects the picture here as long as we're out here. I'm going to throw this off the back of the boat, just a little square bill reaper, but it can get pretty deep all by itself. We're just going to pretend we're over open water and we're just trying to figure out how our bait is running. Let's get it about, 35 feet behind the boat. Can you see it? So now it's back there. If I was in a trolling situation, I'd want to know as close as possible where that thing is situated in the water column. And if my transducer pole is tilted even a little bit, you'll notice that when you just glance up at it and you're trying to read your grid so you can identify at a quick glance how deep it is, it's going to skew it quite a bit. So now that it's perfectly level, let me mess with the transducer angle here just so you can see. You see that the bubble level is just about perfect, somewhere right about there. Okay, so now that translates into a perfectly level bottom, so that as I'm watching my bait up here, you can see that bait swimming. I can say, okay, it's 4 foot down, 32 foot back. And the minute I skew my transducer pole angle, let me try to stay on that bait for you here. There it is. The minute I skew that transducer pole angle, look what happens. So now it's trying to, if I'm just trying to read my grid, it's showing that I'm 12 foot down, 28 feet back. Do you see how that changed? And it's not, you know that it's not accurate, but you just have to spend more time examining your screen if you don't have a perfectly leveled transducer. So that's why I like to level that. That's why I like to have that 0-degree transducer, just so I have a nice straight line of sight to that bait, and it allows me to just maintain a constant visual as accurately as possible for where this is positioned in the water column. Not all crankbaits are created equal, even within the same manufacturer. As you're letting different baits out, maybe your line counter calibration is off, or maybe the baits are just different altogether. You can just visually see exactly where they're running, so you're confident it's hitting the proper part of the water column that you're wanting to target. And by making sure this is level, by having a quick reference with your grid lines, that does make it quite a bit easier. So I hope that helps you guys. Between the 0-degree mount, the leveling of the transducer, the proper tension on the rail, all those things can come into play to make this work as effectively for you and your trolling, or however you like to fish with it, as possible. If you got any questions, let me know. Be happy to answer them, but I hope this does help answer some of those questions. Hope you all have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.